What if I told you that 90% of your purchasing decisions aren't really yours? That most of the time, you're on autopilot, guided by invisible forces? This isn't a conspiracy theory, it's science. A week ago, I decided to conduct an experiment, a kind of personal story time inspired by real events, spending 7 days tracking the psychological mechanisms marketing uses to influence our choices. What I discovered completely changed my view of the world, from the simple cup of coffee I buy in the morning to online subscriptions. In this video, I'm not going to give you a boring list of psychological terms. I'm going to take you with me on this week-long journey. We'll break down together the 7 most powerful cognitive biases, one per day, through situations you experience daily. By the end, you'll never look at a promotion or an e-commerce site the same way again. You'll have the tools to take back control. Get ready, because the first day of my experiment started in a watch store, and what happened there laid the groundwork for everything else. Chapter 1: The Power of First Impressions, or the Anchoring Bias. Monday morning. I walk into a store. My goal, simply to look at watches, with no intention of buying. The very friendly salesman asks what I'm looking for. I remain vague. He then presents me with a first piece, magnificent, under a glass dome. He announces the price, €2,500. I swallow hard. That's well beyond anything I'd consider. I politely tell him so. He smiles and says, "Of course, I understand. Look at this one, then." He takes out another watch, very elegant as well, and hands it to me. This one is €350. And right then, a little voice in my brain exclaimed, "What a deal." I almost bought it. But I stopped myself short. I realized what had just happened. The salesman didn't expect me to buy the first watch. Its exorbitant price of €2,500 was just an anchor. Once that anchor was dropped in my mind, any other price seemed trivial by comparison. €350, objectively, is not nothing for a watch. But compared to the anchor, it was a bargain. This is the anchoring bias. The first number you're given serves as a reference for all future negotiations and evaluations. We see it everywhere, the crossed-out price next to the sale price, the exorbitant premium package that makes the standard package seem much more attractive. It's a formidable technique because it's almost invisible. But this anchoring is only the tip of the iceberg. What I discovered the next day was even more subtle and much more urgent. Chapter 2: The Fear of Missing Out, or the Scarcity Effect. Tuesday evening, I'm on my couch, scrolling through a travel booking website. I'm planning a hypothetical vacation for my experiment. I find a hotel that looks perfect. And that's where the psychological assault begins. In red, a message flashes, "Only one room left at this price." Just below, 22 other people are viewing this page. A small pop-up window appears, "A user from Paris just booked a room 3 minutes ago." My heart rate quickens. An irrational urgency overwhelms me. I have to book. Now. Before it's too late. I had to put my phone down and take a deep breath. This is the scarcity effect. Our brains are programmed to place more value on what is rare or difficult to obtain. It's a legacy from our ancestors, for whom a scarce resource was a matter of survival. Modern marketing has hijacked this mechanism. Limited editions, 24-hour flash sales, countdown timers, everything is designed to create a false sense of urgency and short-circuit our logical thinking. The fear of missing out on a good deal is often stronger than the actual desire to own the product. Scarcity creates intense pressure. But there's an even greater force, one that drives us to want to belong to a group, to do as others do. And that's what I explored on Wednesday. Chapter 3: The Tyranny of the Group, or Social Proof. Wednesday noon. I'm looking for a place to have lunch. I arrive on a street with 2 Italian restaurants, side by side. The first is almost empty. A few tables are occupied, it's quiet. The second is packed. There's a cue spilling onto the pavement. My stomach rumbles. Logic would dictate that I go to the first one to be served quickly. Yet, an invisible force pulls me towards the second. I think to myself, if there are so many people, it must be exceptional. And I got in line like everyone else. This is social proof in its purest form. In situations of uncertainty, we tend to imitate the behavior of others, assuming they have more information than us. It's a mental shortcut. If everyone's doing it, it must be the right thing to do. Online, it's a weapon of mass persuasion. Customer reviews, 5-star ratings, video testimonials, bestseller mentions, all of this serves to reassure us. Look, thousands of people before you made this choice and are satisfied. You're taking no risk. We trust the wisdom of the crowd. It's logical, right? Follow the crowd. But that's not all. The true power of social proof reveals itself when combined with another psychological force, one that has been instilled in us since childhood: respect for authority. Chapter 4: The White Coat, or the Authority Bias. Thursday, watching TV commercials for my experiment. A toothpaste ad. A man in a white coat, stethoscope around his neck, looks at the camera with a serious expression and declares, recommended by 9 out of 10 dentists. Who are these 10 dentists? Was the study conducted seriously? It doesn't matter. The image of the expert, the authority figure, is enough to validate the message. This is the authority bias. We are conditioned to obey and trust figures perceived as legitimate or expert. This bias is so powerful it can make us override our own judgment. Brands use it constantly. Celebrities endorsing a product, expert influencers in their field, certification logos, or product of the year labels. All of this is designed to transfer the authority's credibility to the product. We don't ask ourselves if the product is good, we just think that if this expert recommends it, then it must be. We delegate our critical thinking. It's a time saver for our brain. Trusting experts seems reasonable. But what happens when our own brain lies to us about the value of our own decisions? That's the trap I discovered on Friday. Chapter 5: The Best Purchase of My Life Syndrome, or Post-Purchase Rationalization. Friday. I reflect on an expensive purchase I made a few months ago: noise-canceling headphones. Right after paying for them, a wave of regret washed over me. Did I really need them? Weren't they too expensive? This is what's called cognitive dissonance. But quickly, something strange happened. I started actively looking for reasons to justify my purchase. I read articles praising its merits. I began to notice its exceptional sound quality in minute detail. I started telling my friends it was the best investment for my concentration. I transformed my doubt into unwavering certainty. This is post-purchase rationalization. To avoid the psychological discomfort of having made a bad choice, our brain rewrites the story. We convince ourselves that our decision was the right one. Smart brands know this and help us. Welcome emails saying congratulations on your excellent choice, or welcome to the family, tutorials highlighting product benefits. All of this is designed to reinforce our decision and turn us into loyal advocates. We reassure ourselves. But the next bias is the one that traps us in ecosystems from which it's almost impossible to escape. Chapter 6: The Ownership Trap, or the Endowment Effect. Saturday, I decided to test this bias directly. I signed up for a 30-day free trial of an online music service. I didn't just activate it. I spent time on it. I imported my playlists, customized my profile, followed artists, let the algorithm learn my tastes and make perfect recommendations for me. For 30 days, this service became my music service. Then, the day the trial ended arrived. A notification asked if I wanted to upgrade to the paid subscription or cancel everything. Logically, I could simply cancel. But an enormous resistance built up within me. Canceling meant losing everything I had built: my playlists, my preferences, my history. This is the endowment effect. We attribute much greater value to something simply because we own it, or even because we feel like we own it. The pain of losing something is psychologically twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining something of equivalent value. Free trials, online product configurators, loyalty programs where you accumulate points, all of this is designed to give us a sense of ownership even before purchase. We don't pay to acquire something new, we pay not to lose what we already consider ours. It's incredibly powerful. And now, here's the most important one. The bias that orchestrates all the others, the invisible conductor of our decisions. Chapter 7, The Art of Storytelling, or the Framing Bias. Sunday. Last day of the experiment. I'm at the supermarket, in the butcher section. My gaze falls on 2 trays of ground meat, identical in weight and price. On the first, the label reads, 85% lean meat. On the second, 15% fat. It's the exact same product. But my brain reacts in a completely different way. 85% lean meat sounds healthy, positive, desirable. 15% fat sounds fatty, negative, to be avoided. I instinctively reached for the first option. This is the framing bias. The way information is presented, its frame, has more impact than the information itself. And it's everywhere. Health insurance with a 90% survival rate is more attractive than another with a 10% mortality rate. A subscription presented as only €1.50 per day seems cheaper than a subscription at €45 per month. Framing uses words, images, and contexts to guide our perception and, consequently, our decision. It doesn't change the product, it changes the story we tell ourselves about it. This is the most powerful bias because it can amplify or diminish all the others. It can frame a price to create a stronger anchor, frame an offer to make it rarer, or frame reviews to strengthen social proof. My week-long experiment was over. In 7 days, I had seen how anchoring fixed my price perceptions, how scarcity created a false sense of urgency, how social proof pushed me to follow the crowd, how authority made me drop my guard, how post-purchase rationalization turned me into a fan of my own choices, how the endowment effect made me captive, and how framing painted the reality brands wanted me to see. So, what's to be done? Should we become cynical and believe nothing anymore? No. These biases aren't flaws in our brain, they are mental shortcuts, heuristics that have allowed us to survive and make quick decisions for millennia. The problem is when they are systematically exploited to make us act against our own best interest. The solution isn't to eliminate them, that's impossible. The solution is awareness. The next time you feel an irrational pressure to buy, stop for a second. Ask yourself, am I feeling urgency because of scarcity? Do I want this item because everyone else has it? Does this promotion seem incredible solely because of the initial anchor price? Becoming aware of these mechanisms is like turning on a light in a dark room. You don't remove the furniture, but at least you stop bumping into it. You won't become immune, but you will become a freer, more intentional consumer. And that freedom of choice, that's the real power. Share with someone who wants to get started. Don't forget to subscribe.